Halloween horror stories, true scary stories. Welcome back to tonight's Halloween horror special. The stories you're about to hear are not for the faint of heart. They're real, disturbing, and told by people who swear these terrifying nights changed their lives forever. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and let's begin. Story 1. 6. The Halloween Party Massacre. I was 22 years old at a Halloween party thrown by my former best friend, Nick. Nick was obsessed with Halloween. Every year his house became a maze of terrifying props, fake walls, and haunted hallways. That night, me, Nick, and a few friends were upstairs when we heard two deafening bangs downstairs, 6 followed by screams. Nick ran to the door, peeked out, and locked it behind him. His face was pale like he'd just seen murder. We hid under the bed, in closets, anywhere we could. Boots stomped up the stairs. A masked intruder blasted the doorknob off and stormed into the room. Nick begged for his life, offering money. They dragged him downstairs. For 20 agonizing minutes we stayed frozen, listening. Then silence until Nick returned, panicked, saying they were gone. But downstairs, 2 of our friends, Jen and Robbie, lay lifeless, blood pooling around them. The intruders, 4 masked men in coats and gloves, had demanded $100,000. When Nick couldn't pay, they stole what they could and executed 2 innocent kids. Nick was never the same. He spiraled into drugs, guilt, and despair. Less than a year later, he overdosed. That Halloween destroyed more than 2 lives. Story 2. The Knock at the Door. It was my first Halloween alone in my new house. At 11 p.m., there was a knock. I figured it was a prank, kids doing late-night ding-dong ditch, but the knocking grew louder and then turned into pounding. I flung the door open. Nobody. But when I returned to bed, the pounding came again. Not at the front door this time. It was coming from my bedroom door. Terrified, I blasted a gunshot sound effect through my speakers and shouted that I was armed. Whoever it was fled. The front door was left wide open. I called the police, but the image of someone trying to break into my room still haunts me. Story 3-6. The Creepy Phone Calls. I was 14, left home alone to hand out candy while my mom took my sister trick-or-treating. The phone rang. Silence. Then heavy breathing. The calls kept coming and finally a voice whispered, "He'll be paying you a visit tonight." Moments later, the power went out. Then boom, someone started pounding on the front door. I screamed, but laughter followed. It was my friend Steve, pranking me. But when I demanded he redo the creepy voice, he swore he never said anything. He admitted he only did the heavy breathing. That's when my blood froze, because outside our fuse box wires had been cut. Whoever made that call had been planning to break in. Story 4. The Masked Man. One Halloween, my friends and I kept spotting a man in a mask carrying a lantern. He followed us from house to house, I recalled, unease in my voice. At first, we brushed it off, I said, concerned. But later, someone saw him hiding behind a tree, waving kids over. Only when threatened with police did he finally vanish. To this day, I wonder what his intentions really were, I admitted, pensive. Story 5. The Black Jeep. When I was 11, my friend and I crossed a bridge trick-or-treating when a black Jeep blocked our way. The driver yelled for us to come over. We ran, but soon another car cornered us. Men inside offered us free candy and tried to grab us. We sprinted home, barely escaping. The police later pulled over that Jeep. The same men were arrested. If we hadn't run, I don't know if we'd be alive. Story 6. The Closet. One father tucked his daughter into bed after trick-or-treating. Minutes later, she returned, terrified. "There's someone in my closet," she said, worried. He checked, nothing. But then came a thud. Inside the closet was the neighbor's teenage son, hiding with a friend, spying on the girl. The narrator sounded outraged. Worse, they had drilled a hole to watch her while she slept. The father handled it himself, but admits he regrets never calling the police. The narrator spoke with regret. Story 7. The Tall Figure. In Mississauga, Ontario, a teen heard banging in his new home on Halloween night. Later, his bedroom door creaked open. A towering figure, nearly 7 feet tall, stood over his bed. It leaned close and whispered, "Boo." When his parents rushed in and flicked on the lights, the figure was gone. Story 8. 6. The Pig Mask. At a haunted house attraction, a group of friends escaped the maze 6, but a man in a pig mask followed them out. The narrator said, unsure. At first, they thought it was part of the act, but he followed them for blocks, even to one friend's home. the narrator continued, disturbed. Only when the friend's father came outside with a gun did the masked man raise his hands and beg not to be shot, the narrator said, relieved yet unnerved. The haunted house later confirmed they had no employee wearing a pig mask. Halloween is supposed to be fun, but sometimes the monsters aren't costumes. They're real people, hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves a good scare. Stay safe, and happy Halloween.